Well, I mean, I think that the Ukraine war is kind of entering a chronic phase. I mean, this sort of entering a new phase. The first phase, you'd have to say that the Ukrainians won. The Russia wanted to topple Zelensky's regime, maybe take Kyiv. They obviously failed in that. Now we're in this phase where the fighting is over in the Donbass. It's basically the civil war that's been going on there since 2014. And really, that's what it's now about. Zelensky has acknowledged that Ukraine will not be part of NATO. So that issue is kind of off the table. And so what they're really fighting over now is the status of these disputed territories in eastern Ukraine. And I think it's going to go on for a long time. That's what, General Milley testified. It could go on for years. I think it's going to become a sort of permanent feature in the background of Biden's presidency. And I think the good news is that hopefully the World War III aspect is off the table. It seems like the calls for us to impose a no-fly zone or to put boots on the ground, which you were hearing a lot of a few weeks ago, seems like that's off the table. So now it's just going to be a protracted, I think, civil war going on in the Donbass between Ukraine and Russia and their proxies.
Which would mean, Sachs, correct me if I'm wrong, that Putin will be hobbled forever. They're not going to be a world power, and his power is going to deprecate because he's going to be busy fighting this non-winnable war for some period of time, which is in a way saying Biden did it perfectly and checkmated him. I'm saying that's going to be your assessment if this does go down this way, that there's like a civil war going on and Putin is crippled. That would be checkmate or no?
I think that clearly the State Department's strategy here is to make Putin bleed in eastern Ukraine and to protract this thing and make it go on as long as possible. I think that's a risky strategy because this thing could always spin out of control.
It's risky, but could it be effective? Is there a chance it could be effective?
Well, I mean, if the goal is to bleed Putin, yes, it could be effective at bleeding Putin. However, I don't know that needed to be the key geostrategic objective of the United States right now.
Okay,
I don't know because, look, China is our main threat. China is a peer competitor to the United States. Russia is not. Our economy is 15 times bigger than Russia's. China's economy is about the same size as ours. That is a real threat. So, there are costs to us as well. There are clearly costs to Putin of this, but there are huge costs to us as well. Freeberg described the risk to the supply chain. We've had to now spend a lot more money building up the defense in Europe. We're going to be pinned down in Europe. We should really be moving some of those resources from Europe to East Asia. I mean, that's really where the pivot to Asia is what we thought we were supposed to be doing until quite recently. Now we're going to be bogged down there. And there's still risks of inflation and recession in the U.S. And I think if we are in a recession later this year, I think a lot of people in the U.S. will be asking, what was this all for? And if you go read my article that just came out yesterday, that was based on my speech, is published in the American Conservative. Look, this war was easily avoidable. I mean, the State Department could have avoided this war very easily.
I listened to your speech. I thought your points that you were very clear on, hey, Putin started this. He is the aggressor. It's his responsibility. But, we do need to think about our foreign policy as a country, and regime change is probably not a winning strategy for us. Although in this case, it seems like it's a possibility now. So who knows? I
don't think we're going to get regime change. But if we do, there's no reason to believe that we're going to get something much better. In every case where we've pushed for regime change, we've actually gotten the same or worse. I don't think that should be our objective. I think we have a bunch of bad options now that the war's already started. The best option would have been to avoid this war in the first place. And if this thing drags on for years and the U.S. economy tips into recession, people will look back and say, why didn't Joe Biden's State Department in the year 2021 do a much more effective job preventing this war?